We can start. So, hello everyone. I'm really surprised that there are so many of you, because I know that WordPress has a reputation, and I really thought that I will be saying that you should give it a try, but for a smaller bunch of people. So I'm really happy that you are here. First things first. When I arrived here, I was a bit stressed about the Wi-Fi, especially that some time ago I found this meme. So yeah, sometimes it's true. So I really hope that all the videos that I have in this presentation will work smoothly. We'll see. We'll see. So first of all, who of you likes WordPress? 1, 2. Okay, it's still better. That's not a reason to be shy or something, because I see that the friend there is already hiding. He just did like something like that. Okay, got it. And who doesn't? Only two. That's okay. So something is changing, really. So this kind of proves my point that WordPress is changing. That's a good thing. Okay, before I will continue, there's one thing I really hate about public speakers. When you go to the presentation and instead of focusing on the topic, they start with talking about 5 minutes about themselves. It's horrible. For me, it's always a waste of time. But this time, I have to do the same, because I think that it will kind of help you understand why I'm a good person to convince you to give it a try. So first of all, I know a bit of WordPress. I am with WordPress for so many years. I started just as a user. At some point, I was having a WordPress agency together with my wife. I was responsible for the backend. She was for the front end and for the design. I created plugins. I'm a WordPress core contributor. I organized 2 WordCamps. It was difficult times, but I did it. I spoke at many WordCamps too. I created a lot of content about it. I even had a newsletter for a few years. And I tried to talk about WordPress on different podcasts and webinars. I even tried to, at some JavaScript related, to say that, hey, use WordPress as a cool headless CMS. And some of them tried it. I even remember when WordPress looked like this. It's WordPress 2.0. So I was using WordPress since then. Now we have 6.5 point something. So yeah, I'm really with WordPress for so long. On the other hand, I'm not only working with WordPress. I also use other technologies. For example, even my blog is created in StateMic because it's nicer. I love Astro, I love Craft, Nux. So I would describe myself as when it comes to CMSs, as a liberal. I'm such a liberal that I don't have problem with writing WordPress without capital P. I don't know if you know it, but some people in the WordPress community are quite sensitive about the capital P thing. We even have this function in core, capital P, dang it, which converts every time when you write WordPress without capital P to capital P. So yeah, some people, but like I said, I'm a liberal. I don't care about it. I'm telling all of this to say that I'm a person who doesn't only live in this WordPress bubble. I know how other CMSs looks like. I understand what flaws WordPress has, and also on the other hand, how other CMSs can learn from WordPress, because WordPress also did some amazing things, and yeah, it's really important to kind of work together. And what's most important, my name is Maciek Palmowski. I work at PatchStack, where we are a security company, and we try to tackle with thousands of vulnerabilities that are happening in WordPress every year. Okay, so why should we even care about WordPress, right? Because there are still some people who, when we talk about WordPress, when they will think WordPress is just a plugin platform, that it's full of vulnerabilities, that it's slow, and the worst part, it's written in PHP. Really, for so many people, this is the worst part. Because if it would be slow but written in JavaScript, that's okay. But it's written in PHP, horrible, horrible. And MySQL, like I said, the horrors. But for some reason, 43% of websites in the world are using WordPress. According to W3 Tech, they are monitoring around 2 million top websites, and they're checking which technology are they using. And according to them, 43% of all websites are using WordPress. And if we would remove websites that aren't using a CMS, I think it was around 50 something. So if we would compare just the CMS market. So WordPress is huge. But guess who is on the second place? What is the second most popular CMS? No. No. But it was a good one. Shopify. Shopify is on the second place. And as the second place, they have only 4% of the market. The second biggest open source CMS is Joomla, which was kind of a surprise for me because I thought it would be Drupal. But no, Joomla has around 1.5 or 7%, if I remember. So the difference between the WordPress market share and the rest is humongous. So this should be even one of the reasons why should we care about WordPress, because statistically looking, it's kind of a standard when it comes to CMSs. This almost $600 billion. In 2021, one of the WordPress companies called WP Engine decided to do a research. First of all, let's take this research a bit with a grain of salt, because I'm not fully sure about the methodology, and for some reason they didn't do a follow-up, I don't know why. But they tried to measure how much worth is the whole WordPress ecosystem. So we are talking about the companies, agencies, and so on. Let's connect it together. And this is the number. This is the number, how they assume it's worth. Back then, this would mean that WordPress would be around 39th biggest. If WordPress was a country, it would be the 39th most richest country in the world. And it's just an open source CMS. So that's interesting. I really hope that WP Engine at some point will decide to do a follow-up, because I'm really interested how it changed. This 12,277, it's the number of official themes that are available in the WordPress repository. So we are developers. Most of us don't have a clue how to design things, right? Yeah, of course. I don't. I'm the lucky one that my wife is a designer, so if I need something nice, I just ask her to do it. But most of us doesn't have this luck, but we don't have to worry. WordPress gives us those 20,000 already made themes and designs that we can just use. And we're just talking about the official repository. If we compare it again to Shopify, Shopify in their official repository has 184 themes. So if you want to start and build your website very quickly, there is a bigger chance that you will find something nice in the WordPress repository. And of course, there are also some non-official sources. There are many marketplaces, there are custom themes, so the number is even bigger. And this is the number of plugins in the official WordPress repository, almost 60,000. Plugins are nothing else than additional functionality for WordPress. Some are a bit smaller that just do one or two things, and some are humongous, like for example, WooCommerce, which is an e-commerce store. And in general, like I said, we had those almost 60,000 free plugins in the official repository. So if you want to quickly build your website and add some extra functionality or test it, there is a huge chance that there is already a plugin that is doing this. We even have this saying in WordPress, there is a plugin for that. Can you do something? Yes, there is a plugin for this. So this, of course, on the other hand, I know that it causes some problems, but let's not focus about this. And again, if we compare with Shopify, Shopify has only 8,000 plugins in the repository. So if you want to grow quickly, add functionality, again, WordPress is a great place. But okay, let's go back a few slides and let's take care about those stereotypes about WordPress being slow, full of vulnerabilities, being just a blogging platform, and so on. So the truth is that, yeah, WordPress started as a blogging platform because WordPress is a fork of B2 platform that was forked by Matt Mullenweg and Mike Little. And until 2010, so until WordPress 3.0, WordPress really was kind of only a blogging platform. With WordPress 3.0, we introduced custom post types, which allowed us to create more custom structures inside. So we could add something more than posts and pages. We could create products, we could create whatever we wanted. So while WordPress can be a blogging platform, and it's a very good blogging platform with so many add-ons that can help you with the SEO and stuff, WordPress can be an amazing blogging platform. A lot of companies are using WordPress just for this. For example, Facebook. Some parts of some websites by Facebook or by Meta are using WordPress because they're great for press releases and things like this. So why not? It can be a great e-commerce platform. WooCommerce is the biggest e-commerce. It's bigger than Shopify. And the place when WooCommerce shines, and let's remember, WooCommerce is a plugin, and WooCommerce has plugins. So some plugins in WordPress space has plugins. It's getting complicated at some point, but still. If you are looking for some local payment gateway, you can be almost certain that WooCommerce has it. And even if I mentioned that I really like StateMig. StateMig has a e-commerce store module too. It's really nice, it's really cool, fast, everything's perfect, apart from the whole ecosystem. So if I would like to add some Polish payment gateways or some couriers or whatever, I would have to write everything from scratch, and I don't want it because I would have to maintain it. And yeah, of course, we can make WordPress a learning platform, a job platform. In theory, WordPress can be anything we want. Of course, the fact that we can do something doesn't mean that we should. I had this potential client who asked me, "Hey, Maciek, can we do a second Facebook based on WordPress but cheaper?" He offered around 1,000 euro for this. I mean, let's be honest, if this would kick off, the return of investment would be huge. Yeah. Another thing is WordPress full of vulnerabilities. That's a bit more tricky. So first of all, WordPress as a core is quite safe. Like I said, I work at PatchTech, and every year we release this white paper summing up all the numbers. And last year, WordPress core had only 13 vulnerabilities. None of it were severe. There are also 2 vulnerabilities that WordPress core doesn't agree that it's a vulnerability, although it should be. But still, we are talking about 13, 15 vulnerabilities in the most popular CMS in the world. So people are constantly trying to attack it, and on the other hand, people are doing research on it. So by this, I want to say that WordPress core is safe. It really is. Some practices might be better, but in general, it's really safe. Plugins are the problem. Plugins are responsible for 96% of all the vulnerability reports that were reported by any researcher. So we are talking about thousands. Does it mean that the WordPress ecosystem isn't secure? It depends how we look at it, because if someone finds a vulnerability, that's good, because we can fix it. Most of vulnerabilities are found very quickly, which is good because, again, we can fix it. There's nothing worse than the vulnerability that is hidden for many, many years and no one even saw it. And I remember the situation when Joomla lately, like half a year ago, announced 4 or 5 vulnerabilities in core that were there for many, many years. And no one saw it. In WordPress, it's quite impossible with so many eyes constantly looking at it. Also, almost everyone is trying to fight this problem because everyone understands that WordPress has a reputation of being not secure. So everyone, every layer is trying to do something. Hostings are implementing firewalls, WAFs, whatever. Developers are joining all those disclosure programs to make sure that, or even contributing to different bounty programs. Other companies, like for example ours, we are running such a bounty program. So we are just paying researchers to find vulnerabilities, and then we are trying to contact the developers to fix it. So in general, there is a lot of movement, a lot of things are happening, and we are really trying to make it better. And the fact that so many vulnerabilities are discovered, we shouldn't automatically treat it as something bad. This means that at least we are fighting it. Is WordPress slow? So, of course it can be slow. Every CMS can be slow if done wrong. So, and on the other hand, we have to remember that WordPress during all those years really improved. So for example, right now, the latest version with the default themes only does 20 queries without any caching, without anything, which is a huge step forward because I remember when it was around 32. So we cut down like half, like 50% of the queries that are happening. Also on the front end, when we talk about front end performance, also a lot has improved. Still, we have to remember that WordPress has 42% of the market, which is kind of a problem because everything we want to change will affect those 32% of the websites. We have to go slow, careful. But still, WordPress is doing better when it comes to performance, and I think that upcoming years will also make it better. Also, while the biggest problems when it comes to performance is caused by poorly written plugins, on the other hand, we can also see that more and more plugins are doing their best to make it better. More plugins are introducing custom database structures because kind of the database architecture of WordPress is a known problem. It's very flexible, but in time it gets slow. So it's really nice to see that those big plugins like Yoast, like WooCommerce, are going for separate data, for separate tables, and offloading the data there. Everything gets faster. So in general, again, it's not perfect, but it's better, and yeah, and I think it will only be better and better. And the fact that it's written in PHP, yeah, that's true. It is. Although because we introduced the new editor, more and more parts are written in JavaScript, which is kind of sad. I prefer the PHP version. Okay, a small reminder because I sometimes forget. And I'm on time. Perfect. Okay, so I'm not sure, and I wasn't doing any survey before this talk. When was the last time when you saw WordPress? So I decided to create a list of interesting things that happened in the WordPress space that might get you interested and kind of give it a try. So let's start with the new editor that happened in WordPress, because before this we were using TinyMCE. Now we are using, officially it's called the block editor, but at first it had the code name Gutenberg, and everyone liked the code name Gutenberg so much that now everyone is calling it Gutenberg constantly, which is a problem because I know that WordPress would prefer to go with the block editor, but no. So the difference, okay, it's playing, perfect. The difference between TinyMCA, when we just had one text area and that's it, with the block editor, we kind of have blocks, a bit like in Notion, if you are using Notion. So you know that you can have, you can type text, but if you want to add some block like image block or a list block or whatever, you can do it. Then you can rearrange them, you can do whatever you want. So that's Gutenberg. That's Gutenberg. It's It's written in React. It's really extendable, so you can add your custom blocks, and yeah. So in general, while there are some controversies about it, because some people like it, some people not, I think when it comes to the writing experience, Gutenberg is a huge step forward. It's really good. There are some things that they solved in a weird way. For example, the way how they are saving data. But I decided that I want to talk about things how to, so you can give WordPress a try and not to scare you off. So yeah, some things are weird, but in general, the whole writing experience in Gutenberg is much better than it was. As a next step, we introduced something called full-site editing. Probably for most of us, it's not interesting, but it's kind of a page builder, but baked inside of WordPress. So you don't have to touch a line of code to create a website. It's sometimes useful if you have this annoying client and you just want to, yeah, go. Just click here and there and it will work. Personally, I'm not a fan. I prefer just writing code instead of clicking here and there. But I can understand why people want to use it. It's still in progress. There are still some controversies happening, some discussions, but overall we are pushing it forward. And as you see, it's already quite powerful. You can really do quite a lot without writing a single line of code, which sometimes is very useful. And why not? At some point, we introduced APIs because WordPress didn't have a REST API until some point. So in core, we have the REST API baked in, and it does what every REST API does. So it just, gives data, or you can save data, whatever. And through plugins, we have GraphQL. There are two plugins, one by WP Engine called WP GraphQL, and there is one by Leonardo Lozowitz. It's called Gato GraphQL. They differ a bit, but they do the same, right? So you have a GraphQL endpoint. Personally, I think this was one of the most important things that happened, because it enabled interacting with WordPress on so many new levels. So for example, if you still don't like WordPress, you can go headless. I mean, your users will be using the admin panel, and you will be able to connect it with some new shiny front end, and everything will work fine. Or just or to use the APIs to make the interface more interactive. So it really opens a lot of opportunities. And like I said, you can use both REST or GraphQL. So this is also cool. The WP CLI. I think that during the next slot, or maybe now, Milana has a talk about WP CLI. So if you want to learn more, just go there. But in general, yeah, WP CLI is just a CLI interface for WordPress. It didn't exist at the beginning, and it can help a lot with automating a lot of things. It's very useful. You can do a lot of magical stuff with it. WordPress Playground. This is one of the things that I think is the most interesting things that happen in WordPress since like always. So as you can see in this video, we have a website. Okay, and inside of this website, another WordPress is being launched. The fun part about this WordPress inside of this website is that it doesn't require a server. It runs entirely in your browser, all thanks to WebAssembly. So our Adam Zieliński, who is the creator of WordPress Playground, decided to do something like this. And then we are utilizing it for many interesting things. First, it's a great addition for documentation when you can kind of show what is happening. You can demo plugins or themes thanks to using it without using a server. And lately, Automatic, and I see we have a representative here, launched a thing called Studio by WordPress.com, right? This is the official name, Studio by WordPress.com, I think. Yeah. And this is a local environment for local development. But instead of using mumps or mumps, lamps, whatever, they decided to use WordPress playground, so WASM for it. Interesting approach. It's very quick, so it's very interesting, and I'm really excited to see how it will change over the years. But because I think, like I said, it's one of the most interesting things that happened lately. And this is something very practical. WordPress is a really good update system. It's very easy. When you just learn that there is a new version of plugin, you just go into admin panel, click update, and that's it. Magic happens automatically. You then have to run, I don't know, composer update or whatever. No, just click. We also have auto updates that also do what they say they do. So when it comes to the mechanism, it's really good. The problem is that many WordPress developers don't fully understand how to version their plugins correctly. And sometimes it's that the release that should only be a minor fix or a security fix also introduce some breaking change, and after auto update, our website stops working. But still, the mechanism is okay. We still have to educate some developers about some good practices. But in general, it's very useful. It's very useful. So this is something for more hardcore and for more hardcore users, for people who like modern PHP. And so WordPress is still a bit on the legacy side of PHP, right? Luckily, there is this company, Roots.io, and they released the whole stack trying to make WordPress more modern. So for example, they have a boilerplate that uses Composer, enables much easier configuration, and has a bit different structure, so it's much more Git-friendly. Really an amazing thing. They have a starter theme that uses Blade as a templating engine and Tailwind. They also created a build system, because WordPress out of the box doesn't have it. And they even have Laravel components for WordPress. So in general, if you want to use WordPress in a more modern manner, Roots.io is for you, and you probably will enjoy it. And of course, thanks to the fact that we have plugins for everything, we can even implement both Twig or Blade as templating engines. And honestly, I can't imagine living without, in my case, without Twig. I just got used to it. And templating in pure PHP looks like, at least for me, as a disaster. Another thing that we introduced is quite lately is the interactivity API. So it's something very simple that just adds interactivity to blocks. It's quite similar if we look at the code. I'm not sure if you're seeing it, but if I see that okay. As you can see, all those data, WP watch, data, WP on click, and so on and so on. It's quite similar to what Alpine or HTMX is doing, right? But we decided to do it on our own with Preact, and that we can have our own standard. But still, it's very useful. We can add interactivity to, for example, to Gutenberg blocks. Like I said, it's useful. It's a very useful thing. We also introduced plugin dependencies because we didn't have it for a long time, and very often there are situations when one plugin requires another plugin to run. There were some third-party solutions. I remember that was this TGMPA or something like this. I also remember it was always vulnerable with something. So it was a horrible solution. And finally, we baked in something in core. So as you see, you just add this requires plugin names of them. Right now, it's still a bit on the simple side, but I do hope it will improve. It will get better. It's something. It's something, and it's very useful. Also, the admin panel is slowly getting a new layer of paint because, the current admin panel is quite old. But we could already see when I show you how full-site editing works, that the sidebar looks and everything, it was a bit different. So this is what we are aiming for with the new design. It's still in progress, And knowing how some things change slowly in the whole WordPress ecosystem, probably we will live in a limbo of 2 admin panels for a few years at some point. But we'll get to the point when we'll introduce it to everything. Probably then we'll start thinking about another redesign. But yeah, who knows? And also a very important thing, there is something called WordPress performance team, because like I mentioned, WordPress has this reputation of being slow. So there is this group of people who are doing everything to make WordPress faster. They have this plugin called Performance Labs, and they're constantly doing experiments with different new strategies. Like now we can see that they're working on image placeholders, performance translation, speculative loading, and so on and so on. And at some point, they will try to merge it inside of core. So this will become a part of core. Of course, it's not that easy, because when they tried to merge WebP inside of core, it didn't end with the merge in the end. So there is still some resistance in some cases, but they're pushing for it. They're pushing for new ways to make WordPress faster. And if you like performance, you can join them and also help. Okay, so first a drink. Okay, so how can we WordPress in 2024? Because it's not that easy. WordPress is so flexible that you can approach it from so many ways that sometimes this is the hardest question. Okay, but how should I WordPress? So first of all, you can go with a no-code, low-code approach with all those Gutenbergs or page builders. I don't like it, but you can. And it's fast. It's easy to start with, at least. You can go with some modern stack, like the one from Roots.io that So if you want to use modern PHP, yeah, you can do it with WordPress. Of course, yeah, WordPress, like I said, WordPress core is a bit on the legacy side, but you can still merge it with more modern approaches. So it is possible. Thanks to all the APIs, you can go headless. You can use, I don't know, Astro or Next or Nux or whatever is trendy right now. I think Astro is still trendy. Or you can go with the legacy approach, so how we build themes for many years without any build tools, without any composers, just slapping PHP here and there using functions, and I mean, it works. Of course, WordPress isn't perfect. Probably I could do a presentation on Don't Touch WordPress. It's sometimes horrible, but I decided just to pick 2 things that are quite annoying, especially from our developer perspective. First of all, backward compatibility. WordPress is known for like a paranoid backwards compatibility. So currently, WordPress runs on PHP 7.0, 7.1, 7. Oh, I forgot 7.2. Huh, that's why everything fit in one line. Now I know. 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 8.0, 8.1, and 0.3. Yeah. Do you know any other CMS that runs on so many PHP versions at once? And we have to maintain it. It's a nightmare. And I don't have to tell you that those doesn't have any official support, and if I remember, 8.1 only have security updates. And still, we are supporting them. We are maintaining our whole code database to work at the same time with modern PHP versions and PHP 7.0. So it's horrible. So if you want to help WordPress core, you have to go back to the moment when you started writing PHP. Oh, that's this one. But there is good news. With the next release of WordPress 6.6, I will be able to remove 7.0 and 7.1 from this list. We are removing them, which is a great success, because some things are happening slowly in WordPress, and removing support for each PHP version is a really huge milestone for us, and really great. But I heard that 7.4 will be the blocker for for next years to come. So, and we love having our own standards. Instead of using the ones that all other developers are using, we prefer to have our own coding standard. Everyone is using PSRs. We have WordPress coding standard. Yeah, and you have to live with it. If you want to contribute to core, you have to use WordPress coding standard. And every time when there is a discussion on, hey, maybe let's use what everyone else is using, it will be a good idea. No, the rest of the world should change. We have 42% of the market. Also, there is no framework underneath. And in general, we don't like to we kind of like to write most of the things on our own and then to maintain it. And then, yeah, it causes a lot of trouble. I'm not saying that we should, I don't know, do what Drupal did with rewriting to Symfony twice and breaking the backward compatibility twice. But maybe it's time to kind of start using some more third-party libraries and stop maintaining everything. And we also don't like Composer for some reason. We don't use it. We're not using auto-loading through Composer. But good news, after 8 years, there is a huge chance we will have our own custom, of course, autoloader. After 8 years of discussions. So yeah, and the interactivity API that I mentioned before, yeah, we could have used Alpine JS because it does exactly the same, but it has the community around it. Now we decided to build our own standard that only we will use, and then we will be mad that no one else wants to help us. So yeah, this is WordPress and its own standards. It's something kind of annoying. We also don't like Tailwind, because it doesn't fit our flow, and many other things. So if you are used to standards that everyone is using, and if you want to contribute to WordPress, it might be a very interesting experience for you. Okay, so to sum up, WordPress isn't that bad, as many people try to say about it. Also, it's far from perfect. But I still think that if last time you used WordPress, I don't know, like 2 or 4 years ago, you should give it a try, just install it, see what changed, because you might like it. Or not. But in general, there is a reason why 42% of the market is using it. I mean, if it would be that horrible as some developers are saying, probably people wouldn't use it. And at least not like almost half of them. So yeah, I really encourage you to give it a try and see how it goes, because maybe you'll like it. And if you feel that you'd like to help, maybe contribute back either to core or maybe to some plugins, whatever. Every help is needed. Okay, so are there any questions? Nothing? Oh.
So a quick question about the updates to the plugin. I'm wondering overall how bad is it and how many plugins are actually right now vulnerable and no one is fixing them. And like the second question is the notification. You said one-click updates or updates. How is the notification?
Okay, so let's start with the first one with the updates and the vulnerability. So I would say that every day it's something new. So yeah, a lot of those plugins pop in. On the other hand, we have to remember that I mentioned that there are thousands and thousands of plugins. So the fact that plugin is vulnerable doesn't mean that so many people are using it. Overall, this is something that core should improve about informing that the plugin is vulnerable, update it now. I mean, what's interesting, core has a possibility to force an update, and it was used from time to time. It's not used every day, but it's used from time to time with, especially with 0 days vulnerabilities. But if you want to get notifications, in most cases, you have to use some third-party tool. For example, our patch stack, because they exist. Yeah, of course, and they are paid. so, so that's one thing. On the other hand, I also have to tell you that there is one more problem with the updates, because one of the problems when it comes to security is not the plugins that aren't yet updated, but the plugins that were reported as vulnerable. The developer did nothing, and this plugin got removed from the repository because it's unsecure. And this is the moment when core says, okay, we did our job, thanks. But the user who already installed this plugin doesn't know that this plugin was removed, that it's unsecure. So this is one of the things that WordPress core should really improve quickly, but for some reasons they aren't, and we don't know why. So yeah, this was, and the second part, sorry, because my memory is, Okay, that's, oh yeah, the notification part, yeah. Okay, thanks. Anything else? Okay. So, okay. I can tell you that this is also a bit of a problem, because I mentioned that many developers have problems with versioning, right? And this kind of, because WordPress has quite a big community of less technical users. And the moment when they learn that update can break their website, at some point they become a bit afraid of updating plugins. Another thing is the whole plethora of PHP versions, and there are really a lot of people who are using outdated PHP versions, which means that at some point they can't update plugins, or I mean mostly plugins, anymore. So there aren't statistics about this, but from experience, when I was working with different clients, we see that very often people are afraid of doing updates. And the moment when one of the most important things about security, so updating the plugin, isn't working because people are afraid of doing this, we have a problem here. And what's worse, it's not a technical problem, because we kind of created it in exactly on a human level. So yeah, and especially and also if we connect it with the fact that very often security companies kind of try to advertise with fear, because yeah, fear sells. Yeah, we are kind of just making many people more and more afraid about doing updates, until the moment when they really get this email that really critical, your website will be gone and something like this. This is like the moment, okay, I think I have to. But everything in between, very often they don't care. And to be honest, I kind of understand it, because even when I was taking care of maintenance of many websites, one of my strategy, when there is no security update, do not update right away. If the version ends with 0, it's the new release. Let's wait a week, because I'm sure they messed up something and they will update it during the first week. And that's bad. That's bad, because those mechanisms aren't technical. And even if they improved over time and their initial releases are okay, it's still in my head that, nah, I prefer to wait. Anything else? Oh.
Database version.
Mm-hmm. How WordPress handles updating of data?
They are supporting the versions of PHP.
Oh yeah.
What about versions of MySQL and
I don't remember, but probably, of course, we are also supporting quite a quite range because they are very often connected to PHP version with MySQL version. And WordPress isn't using any complicated things on the database. So it's quite universal things that will always work. And that's it. So we are kind of aiming, like with PHP, for the lowest common approach that will work. Anything else? Okay, so thank you so much. If you would like to find me on Twitter, I'm Palmiak-FP, and I have a newsletter, newsletter.maciekpalmowski.dev. I talk a bit about WordPress, about CMSs there, so feel free to join. And the organizers asked me for this, so please leave feedback if you liked it. And like I said, I have birthday today, so add a star more. Okay, thanks a lot.